What up, Scenic viewers? This is my on-the-fly reaction, rather my on-the-fly movie review of the It movie that I finally got to see. If you haven't seen the other video that we did, the It Experience, that was fun. But this is a more in-depth review that I wanted to do after really being able to sit down and think about the movie a little bit more. So let's get right into it. First of all, I thought it was a really, really, really good movie, a film. Going in there, I really thought that I was going to be scared a lot more than I originally was. I wasn't really scared too often. I did have moments where I was a little jumpy. I'm not going to lie. That library scene, or basically all the scenes, not all of them, but most of the scenes where we see each kid's interaction with it. Some were suspenseful because it was a buildup, and others were like when we see Chosen, the butcher's son or the grandson. I forget his name in the movie. But when we see him getting beat up by the bullies, and we see just it standing in the background, and he's eating the arm, and he's waving like that was creepy. Anyways, the interaction that each kid had with it was cool. It was cool to see how it played on their fears. But anyways, having said that, let's get into the overall thing. I thought it was good. I wasn't as scared as I thought I was gonna be, but that's not to say that I wasn't scared. Now, the opening sequence was by far I'm not gonna say the best sequence in the movie, but it was very strong. It pulled you in right away. I remember watching the original theatrical release, or the original movie or TV show, if you will, with Tim Curry, and I remember that scene where Georgie, his boat goes under, and we see Pennywise. And I remember being a kid in elementary school, and it really scaring the crap out of me, right? And then, like, as soon as, Georgie reaches in to get the boat, we see Pennywise go after him, I believe, if I remember correctly. And then it was just implied that Georgie got. They pulled no punches in this one. This one it took whatever creepy factor that I had from that movie as a child, and whatever nostalgia I had. And keep in mind, I've never read the book, so I don't know how faithful this is to the book. Those who have read the book have told me it's very faithful. Those that I've seen review it say that it's very faithful. I haven't gotten a chance to read the book yet, but from what I've seen from the original, it took that scare factor and stepped it up a notch. Like, as you heard me say in the other one, that was like a war vet scene where poor Georgie goes in to get the boat, and his arm just gets bit off by it. And then, like, you see Georgie walking away. This little boy, he's crawling, and then its hand, we see that top view where you see its hand coming out the drain and just yanks him back in. I didn't think they would go that far with a kid. And props to that little kid who played Georgie. He did a great job. Like, I was convinced. But that scene was gruesome, and not in the traditional sense of, oh my gosh, it's gruesome, even though it was gruesome. But man, if that didn't hook you and like break your heart for Georgie, and didn't set the tone for the movie right away, I don't know what else to tell you. But that scene right there solidified what the rest of this movie would be. Now, the cinematography was phenomenal. There was a lot of beautiful shots. A lot of Dutch angles were done well. I caught a couple vertigo shots that were used, and usually when you see these shots in horror movies, they're played out, right? They're used a lot. They're used just because they can be used, but they're not used to really enhance the scene. But in this movie, I felt a lot of the cinematography that was done, and a lot of the shot choices that they used, it really was done to enhance the story, to enhance the movie, and not just because it could be done. So I give a lot of props to the director on that end, or the cinematographer as well, and whatever partnership they had in bringing that to life. Comedic tone of this movie, the comedic beats of this movie, just to get that out the way, was hilarious, which lends to the critique I have of the kids. The cast and the crew, starting with the kids, was like, wow, it was outstanding. Like, to see a bunch of kids be able to play off of one another and act, they cussed a lot, but it was believable, right? Like, I remember being in middle school and high school and talking this way with my friends. The your mama jokes that Finn Wolfhard had, my God, that kid from Stranger Things, Finn, stole the show from me. Him and the kid who played Ben, whose name I believe is Jeremy Ray Taylor. Those two are like the standout. Not to say that diminishes what the other kids and their acting abilities were. Not at all. But those two were like stand out for me. Finn, his comedic timing was on point. It wasn't forced. It wasn't like, oh, it's because you're a kid, it's funny. Like, he had comedic timing and his chops, and every time he delivered a line, it just was done well. Like, he had me laughing. And to see this level of acting from him, whereas it was much different range from what I saw in Stranger Things, this kid has a bright career ahead of him. But anyways, the kid and the kids and the overall camaraderie that they had with one another, and how they really were believable in what they were portraying, and that they were these outsiders. And a lot of gripes that I have with movies sometimes is like, for example, the biggest gripe I have with Death Note, they tried to make him seem like an outsider, and by no means is this in the same playing field as Death Note at all. But the fact that these kids were believable in their roles, they looked like outsiders, they felt like outsiders, their camaraderie was on point. Like, they really felt real. And that's my favorite kind of acting, when you don't see kids acting, but you see them really. The best acting is reacting, but when you see them really bringing the role to life, and you just don't see a kid. And sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I could have like okay, this is a kid, so I'm gonna cut him some slack in his acting. But here, these kids all across the board did a phenomenal job. Bill Skarsgård as It was, I'm sorry, Tim Curry did a phenomenal job, but this is like Jack Nicholson's Joker, and then Heath Ledger's taking it to a whole nother level. Bill Skarsgård took that character to a whole nother level. Right away, from the minute you see him on screen and the minute he talks, he is engaging. And he's not on screen a whole lot, but when he is engaging right away. Like, you are like scared, intrigued, uneasy, kind of taking, not taken aback, but almost like intrigued is the word I guess I'm going to use again. But you're like, you want to see more of him. And that scene where Georgie is talking to him, and you just see that creepy smile, and he's just like, I don't know how he did it. And the way the way he enunciated certain words, he's like, take it. And the way like he would, like, just the way he played that character, I just think it made the interview that I saw with him prior to seeing the movie make that much more sense, when he was saying that as an actor, the only tools he has to work with is his face, his physicality. And I think he did a great job leaving the audience unsettled, leaving them uneasy. They were scared. Like, I was scared again, but it wasn't your traditional horror movie. I thought it was more of a thriller, and it was more about the journey of these kids in facing their fears. And I don't think it was cheesy. There was no wasted jump scares. Every time they tried to scare you, you were getting scared for a reason. It wasn't like most of these horror movies or these thrillers where they throw something out just to get you, and it has nothing to do. They just wanted to scare you. It was no cheap scares. Every time they tried to do it, it was on point. The tone of the entire movie was great. The 80s reference was hilarious. Like, the one time the girl, Bev, when she was like, when she said something to Ben after he got cut open by the bully, or the bully cut him, she said like this reference, this 80s reference to New Kids on the Block. She said something like the right stuff, and I just thought it was hilarious. I thought that the way it did make you feel like it was the 80s, and it was late 80s too, so it wasn't like saturated in like 80s, like Stranger Things, if you will. But it was good. It was good. No qualms with that. The tone was good. The acting was on point. The only one critique that I could say was I caught one continuity issue at the end, but that was, I mean, I'm sure there's others, but that's neither here nor there. And then the opening sequence, it clearly looked like it was like a night for day shot, or day for night shot, where it looked like it was shot in bright day, and then in post-production they toned it down to look like a rainy day. But outside of that, like, even that's a minute critique that I have with that. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any other issues that I had with the movie. There was one point where I was like, wow, it's still going, but then I lost that right away, right when they picked back up again towards the end, when you thought it was over. I thought it was over after they encountered Pennywise for the first time, but then it kept going. And at first I was like I said, it was really quick. I was like, wow, this movie's still going. But then again, I completely lost it right as they got back into the swing of things. Pennywise, again, scary. Every time they showed him, it was just creepy. There was this one scene in the library where the boy's looking at the books, and you could see like this lady in the background just kind of looking at him, out of focus, but you can tell she's smiling, and it was all like, it just made you feel uneasy. I don't know how to say it without giving too much more away, even though this is a spoiler review. But I don't have all the details in my head. I'd like to watch it again one more time if I'm going to do an even more in-depth review. But just off the top of my head, these are just things that stood out to me. The opening sequence, I was hooked right away. The cinematography was done beautifully. They did it. The cinematography enhanced the movie. It wasn't done just for the sake of being done, where I feel like that could be done in other scary movies. Cool shots, even though the content was bad. The overall storyline was great. I'm excited to see Chapter 2 and how these kids come back. I thought the kids, the cast was phenomenal. Pennywise did a phenomenal job. He took a legendary performance by Tim Curry and raised the bar. And then, as I said, the two standouts for me were Finn and Jeremy as Richie and Ben. I think they were, and again, that doesn't diminish what the other kids did, but they were standout. Like, they really were the comedic and punch of the group, if you will. And the other kids had some funny moments too, but man, Finn from Walking Dead, I mean not Walking Dead, Stranger Things was just, I just can't get out of my head how well of a job he did. I'm really impressed with his acting chops. Overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 9.5. Same score that I had yesterday. I don't think it's changed any. It's definitely a movie I would recommend. I would go back and watch again. Again, it's not your traditional horror movie or scary movie. It's more of a thriller. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And overall, I just thought it was good. So anyways, did you guys see the movie? Are you guys excited to see the movie? If you did see the movie, what are some things that I left out? Again, I'm sure I'm leaving out a lot because this is just quick off the cuff review. But what did you guys think? Did you like it? Did you have any dislikes? Please comment below, like, share, as always, subscribe, and keep the comments going. Keep the conversation going. And as always, we'll see you again next time, guys.